Hello everyone, welcome to this series on the history of English literature. And in this video, we are going to discuss the poets of the First World War. Introduction. The modern age, spanning the late 19th and early 20th centuries, was a period of profound transformation in English and Irish literature. Among the most significant events that shaped this era was the First World War, 1914 to 1918, which had a profound impact on the literary landscape. The war not only introduced a new generation of poets, particularly among the young men in the armed forces, but it also served as a catalyst for established writers to explore new themes and styles. This video delves into the emergence of war poets during the First World War, highlighting key figures such as Julian Grenfell, C.H. Sorley, Robert Nichols, Robert Graves, Edmund Blunden, and Lawrence Binyon. It examines how their work reflected the evolving national attitudes toward the conflict, transitioning from initial patriotic fervor to profound disillusionment and realistic portrayals of war's brutality. The emergence of war poets. Julian Grenfell, 1888 to 1915. Julian Grenfell was one of the early casualties of the war, dying in 1915 at the Battle of Loos. Despite his short life, Grenfell's poetry encapsulated the initial wave of patriotic fervor that swept through England at the war's outset. His works, such as Into Battle, exuded a romanticized view of heroism and sacrifice, embodying the prevalent belief in the nobility of self-sacrifice for a just cause. Grenfell's poems were marked by their impassioned tone and idealistic portrayal of war, resonating deeply with a public eager to rally behind the national cause. C.H. Sorley, 1892 to 1915. C.H. Sorley, another young poet who perished in the war, contributed significantly to the early war poetry movement. His collection, When the Fateful Night, reflects the blend of youthful optimism and tragic loss that characterized the early years of the conflict. Sorley's poetry often juxtaposed the beauty of the natural world with the grim realities of the battlefield, creating a poignant contrast that highlighted the senselessness of war. His untimely death underscored the devastating human cost of the conflict and lent a profound authenticity to his poetic expressions. Robert Nichols, 1893 to 1944. Robert Nichols was a prominent poet and anthologist who played a crucial role in documenting and shaping war poetry. His anthology, Anthology of War Poetry, published in 1943, became a seminal work that preserved the voices of those who experienced the war firsthand. Nichols's own poetry, characterized by its reflective and somber tone, delved into themes of loss, despair, and the futility of war. His contributions were instrumental in providing a comprehensive literary record of the war's impact on the human psyche. Robert Graves, 1895. Robert Graves emerged as one of the most influential war poets, blending personal experience with historical and mythological references. His works, such as Goodbye to All That, offer a candid and often critical perspective on the war, reflecting his disillusionment with the romanticized notions of heroism. Graves's poetry is noted for its vivid imagery and emotional intensity, capturing the chaos and trauma of trench warfare. His later writings continued to explore the psychological scars left by the war, making him a pivotal figure in modernist literature. Edmund Blunden, 1896 to 1974. Edmund Blunden's poetry is renowned for its honest and unembellished portrayal of war. His collection, Undertones of War, exemplifies his commitment to depicting the harsh realities of combat without resorting to glorification. Blunden's poems often convey a sense of weariness and resignation, highlighting the pervasive sense of futility that permeated the trenches. His works provided a stark contrast to the earlier patriotic poetry, offering a more nuanced and realistic examination of the war's effects on individuals and society. Lawrence Binyon, 1869 to 1943. Lawrence Binyon, although older than his counterparts, made significant contributions to war poetry through his ability to capture both the solemnity and the human spirit amid the horrors of war. His most famous work, For the Fallen, serves as a poignant tribute to the soldiers who lost their lives, emphasizing themes of sacrifice and remembrance. Binyon's poetry resonated deeply with the public, becoming an integral part of the collective memory of the war. Thematic evolution from patriotism to disillusionment. The poetry of the First World War can be broadly divided into two distinct phases, reflecting the shifting national attitudes toward the conflict. Early patriotic fervor. In the initial years of war, poetry was dominated by themes of patriotism, heroism, and the noble cause of self-sacrifice. Poets like Julian Grenfell and C.H. Sorley embodied this sentiment, celebrating the valor and duty of soldiers. Their works were imbued with a sense of optimism and a belief in the righteousness of their cause, mirroring the public's eagerness to support the war effort. Growing disillusionment and realism. As the war dragged on and the scale of carnage became increasingly apparent, a shift occurred in the poetic landscape. The early idealism gave way to a more realistic and often bleak portrayal of war. Poets like Robert Graves, Edmund Blunden, and Robert Nichols began to emphasize the futility, suffering, and psychological trauma associated with the conflict. This phase marked a departure from the glorified narratives of earlier poetry, instead offering a candid and critical examination of the war's true nature. The loss of poets and its impact. The First World War claimed the lives of many young poets, including Julian Grenfell and C.H. Sorley, whose untimely deaths robbed the literary world of promising talents. The loss of these poets not only diminished the volume of war poetry, but also heightened the sense of tragedy and loss that permeated the surviving works. Their sacrifices underscored the devastating personal costs of the war, adding a layer of poignancy and authenticity to the poetic expressions of their peers. The role of anthologies and post-war recognition. Post-war anthologies such as Robert Nichols's Anthology of War Poetry played a crucial role in preserving and promoting the works of war poets. These collections ensured that the voices of those who experienced war the first hand were not lost to history. By compiling a representative selection of war poetry, anthologies provided a platform for both contemporary and future audiences to engage with the profound emotional and psychological impacts of the conflict. Enduring legacy and influence. The poetry of the First World War has left an indelible mark on English literature. The shift from early patriotic fervor to a more realistic and disillusioned portrayal of war influenced subsequent generations of poets and writers. The honest and often stark depictions of suffering and futility found in the works of Graves, Blunden, and others resonate with post-war generations who grappled with the aftermath of the conflict. The depth of understanding and realism in their poetry continues to inspire and inform contemporary literary expressions, ensuring the enduring relevance of their contributions. Conclusion. The poets of the First World War played a pivotal role in shaping the trajectory of modern English and Irish drama. Through their candid and often harrowing portrayals of war, they captured the complex emotions and profound disillusionment that characterized the era. Despite facing significant challenges, including the loss of many young talents and an unsympathetic theatrical environment, these poets succeeded in providing a powerful and enduring literary record of the war's impact. Their work not only enriched the diversity of English poetry, but also offered a timeless reflection on the human condition amid the chaos of conflict. The legacy of war poets underscores the profound ability of literature to capture and convey the deepest facets of human experience, ensuring that their voices continue to echo through the annals of literary history.